Hello students, you all are welcome in grade 8. Today's new chapter 16, Light, Subject Science. Now, same chapter light that you had studied in your previous standard also. So, in this session, let's see introduction about the light. In previous standard, you have studied the types of lens, types of mirrors. There are three types of mirror: plane mirror, concave mirror and convex mirror. You have also studied about its images: real image, virtual image, erect, inverted, lateral inversion. You must know the difference between convex lens and concave lens, right? So today in this chapter we are going to start something new as per the grade 8 level of light chapter. The world is largely known through the senses. The sense of sight is one of the most important senses. Through it we see the mountains, rivers, trees, plants, chair, people, and so many other things around us. We also see clouds, rainbow, birds flying in the sky. At night we see the moon and stars. You are able to see the words and sentences print on these pages. How is this seeing made possible? How can you see the different objects in the world? Now what makes things visible? Have you ever thought how we see various objects? Just now my questions. You may say that I see the objects, but can you see an objects in the dark? It means that eyes alone cannot see any objects. It is only when light from an object enter our eyes and that we see the objects. So the light may have emitted by the objects or may have been reflected by it. So you learned in the class 7 that a polished or shiny surface acts as a mirror. A mirror changes the direction of the light that falls on it. And can you tell that in which direction the light falling on the surface will be reflected? Let us find out. So we can say that the answer that we can see the objects only when the reflection of light is possible. If the reflection of light is not possible from that objects and that rays which enter in our eyes, we can see. Until and unless we cannot see. In dark time or in night time we cannot see any objects. Why? Because light is not there. So when you on the light, right, then we can see the objects at night time. Daytime sun is there. Sun is the main source of light. So with the help of sun we can see all around objects. And another important thing is there, the objects. There are two types of object: transparent object and opaque object. Translucent also, right? Translucent, opaque and transparent, that we have studied. Now from these all, only the opaque objects reflection is possible. Why? Because light does not pass from the opaque objects. It just reflected back. So whatever that reflected back rays that enter in our eyes and we can see. Transparent objects, when the rays of light falls on it, that light, it does not reflect, but it just passing through it. That's why transparent object we cannot see, right? So we can see the any objects, we can see any objects only and only when the reflection is done. Now let's we see the law of reflection. Now to prove the law of reflection, we can do one activity, activity number 16.1. Fix a white sheet of paper on a drawing board or a table. Take a comb and close all its opening except one in the middle. You can use a stripe of the black paper for this purpose. Hold the comb perpendicular to the sheet of the paper. Throw light from the torch through the opening of the comb front one slide. With the slight adjustment of the torch and the comb, you will see a ray of light along the paper on the other side of the comb. Keep the comb and torch steady. Place a stripe of your plane mirror in the path of the light ray. That is as for figure number 16.1. What do you observe? Here you can see the mirror is there, which is fixed at one position. Now take this comb, right? So as per the comb, you have to do it, right? So you can get the path of the rays, right? That rays path of the rays, it is in X position. You see arrangement of the showing of reflection like this way. You can do this experiment at your home. After striking the mirror, the ray of the light is reflected in the another directions. The light ray which strikes any surface is called incident ray, right? The ray which is strike on the surface, which is incident ray. The ray that comes back from the surface after the reflection, that is known as reflected ray. So draw a line showing the position of the plane mirror, the incident ray and the reflected ray on the paper. With the help of your friends, remove the mirror and comb and draw a line making an angle of 90 degree to the line representing the mirror at the point where the incident ray strike the mirror, and this is known as normal. The reflecting surface at the point, right, it is normal. The angle, look, the figure, in this figure this is a mirror, correct, and incident ray, and this is reflected ray. Now here this is normal, which is the surface of the mirror to this, draw one line, this is normal, correct. So now the angle between the normal and incident ray, the angle between the normal and incident ray, that is known as angle of incidence. So angle of incidence, which is represented by small I. The angle between the normal and reflected ray, it is known as angle of reflections, right? So measure the angle of incidence and angle of reflection. Repeat this activity several times by changing the angle of incidence. And fill this table number 16.1. Look here, this is mirror, reflected ray, okay, sorry, this is incident ray. Incident ray is this. So incident ray which is falling on the mirror, then it reflect back at this ray. So you just see the image of this incident ray in the mirror. So you see this line, which is straight line in that mirror. You can find here, you put the scale, right, and your scale and that ray, that should be in the same line, and draw this. So it is reflected ray, right? You see the definition of angle of incidence. The angle between incident ray and normal, it is known as angle of incidence. And the angle between normal or the angle between reflected ray and normal, it is known as angle of reflection. So every time So every time you measure angle of incidence and angle of reflection, and angle of incidence and angle of reflection, that should be equal, right? That should be equal. That is the law of reflection. Then second law, incident ray, reflected ray and the normal, they lie at one position, right? They lie at one position only. It is the second law, correct. Here angle of incidence and angle of reflections you can see. Now at different angle of incidence you will get the angle of reflections. With the help of protractor you can draw as shown in figure, राइट पहले आप सपोज 30 डिग्री लिया तो एंगल ऑफ रिफ्लेक्शन भी आपका 30 डिग्री ही आएगा, है ना, विद द हेल्प ऑफ मिरर. आप जब फिगर ड्रॉ करोगे ना, तो सपोज 40 डिग्री लिया एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस, तो एंगल ऑफ रिफ्लेक्शन सपोज 39 आया, एग्जैक्टली नहीं आया तो चलेगा, लेकिन 5 डिग्री का डिफरेंस नहीं होना चाहिए. 40 तो 41 आएगा चलेगा, 39 हो चलेगा. सपोज आपने नेक्स्ट टाइम 69 डिग्री लिया तो आपका 70 डिग्री आया एंगल ऑफ रिफ्लेक्शन, तो विल डू. सो लाइक दिस वे यू कैन टेक द रीडिंग ऑफ 5 एंड prove this law of reflection. Angle of incidence is always equal to angle of reflection. Okay, so do you see any relation between the angle of incidence and angle of reflection? Are they approximately equal? if the experiment is carried out carefully, it is seen that the angle of incidence is always equal to the angle of reflection. And this is one of the law of reflection. That let us perform another activity on reflection. And another law, the incident ray, the normal at the point of incidence, and reflected ray all lie in the same plane. And this is the another law of reflection. So dear students, today we have done till here only. Next time we will do the another point. So till then, goodbye. Have a nice day. Thank you.